Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. Today I'll introduce you to a new topic. Let's begin with a fun activity. I will show you a few images and assign you with a task. Let's get started. Image number 1. It is an ocean with marine organisms. Image 2 is a forest with a canopy of trees and sunlight. Next, image 3 is that of a grassland with grazing animals. Here we have image 4, a desert with sand dunes and camels. Up next is image 5. It is a mountain range with a valley full of shrubs and mountain animals. Finally, an image of a small pond with lots of plants around it and a few insects. The images we just saw are geographically diverse and different from each other. Would any one of you disagree that a mountain, a desert, a water body, and a grassland are not different? I don't think so. Now let me come back to the task I spoke about at the beginning of this session. I would need you to look at the current timestamp, pause the video, go back and observe the images just shown and come back to the same timestamp with a guess of the similarities among them. I will definitely give you the answer, but please start the task now. I hope you have come back with your guesses. Well, let me share the answer now. So, all the images shown earlier from image 1 to 6 had the following things in common. First, they were living organisms, be it a coral or a tree or an animal or a bird or some flies. They were all living organisms. Next, there were non-living environment or the non-living entities, which included soil, air, water, wind, sunlight, or many more. In the world of ecology, the living components of the environment are referred to as the biotic community, whereas the non-living environment is referred to as the abiotic components. I will get into further details regarding both biotic and abiotic environment, but first let us come to the topic for today, which is an ecosystem. Well, all the images shown from 1 to 6, each of them were images of different ecosystems. Now let's know what an ecosystem is. An ecosystem is a self-contained area comprising of biotic and abiotic factors that interact with each other and also with the environment. I need to explain further, what does the self-contained area mean? A self-contained area is capable of replenishing itself without an external input. So, image 1 was an aquatic ecosystem, followed by the forest ecosystem, then grassland ecosystem. Coming next was mountain ecosystem, and so on. Do you know how the ecosystem word was coined? Well, it was an English scientist, a pioneer ecologist, Sir Arthur Tansley, who coined the term in the year 1935. This word was derived from a Greek word oikos, which means house or home. Ecosystems can be marine, terrestrial, desert, or many more. It can be a small ecosystem or a vast ecosystem as well. Now let me introduce you to the world of living. The word bio of the biotic community refers to all living organisms. By now, you know living organisms do not mean only plants and animals. They include all the 5 different kingdoms. For those who don't remember what the 5 kingdoms are, I will attach the link of the lesson where I have introduced the 5 different kingdoms in the description of this video. Let us start with the first biotic component. It is called producers. You can see the stretch of green plants shown on the image. These producers are so called because they can produce their own food with the help of the environmental or natural substances. With the help of sunlight, they can perform photosynthesis and produce glucose. This next level comprises of primary consumers. These primary consumers consist of herbivorous animals, those who feed upon plant products. Examples are a small grasshopper, 2 larger animals like zebra, antelope, beaver, panda, koala, and many more. All these primary consumers survive on the plant products, that is, on the green plants. Next level is occupied by secondary consumers. The secondary consumers feed upon the primary consumers, those who are the herbivorous animals. So, the secondary consumers are generally carnivorous, feeding upon the herbivores. A large number of examples are shown on your screen. Next comes the tertiary consumers. Tertiary consumers feed on the secondary consumers. They too are carnivorous, and among the carnivores, there will be larger carnivores as compared to the secondary consumers. Next, we may have apex predators who too will be carnivorous organisms. Besides this, in an ecosystem, we do have scavengers who feed upon dead plants and animals. Detritivore are organisms who feed on the leftover of the scavengers. They include earthworms, slugs, millipedes, etc. Beyond this, we do have decomposers who feed upon the absorbed content of the organic matter which gets dissolved in the soil, and they include the algae, fungi, and bacteria. The importance of abiotic components is as much as that of the biotic components. Now, what are these abiotic components? They are the non-living factors on which life depends. Let's take into account the first non-living factor. This is sunlight. Sunlight is the ultimate source of all energy. It helps in photosynthesis for green plants. It also helps to maintain the temperature and also affects the climate of a place. The next abiotic factor is air. It is the source of oxygen for respiration by all organisms. Carbon dioxide present in the air helps in photosynthesis. Air is also the medium for flight of volant organisms. Air is an agency for pollination. Air is also required for dispersal of seeds and fruits. Water is also an important abiotic component of the ecosystem. Water is necessary for growth and survival of all organisms. Sustenance of life depends on water. Water makes habitat for a large number of aquatic organisms. The dissolved oxygen in the water is used by aquatic organisms. Water can control the climate of a place too. The next component being soil. Soil being an abiotic factor makes the major component of all other ecosystems. Autotrophs grow and flourish here. Sources of mineral and soil water is also found in the soil itself. Soil is the house for a large number of microorganisms, burrowing animals, earthworms, etc. The next factor being temperature. The temperature of a place influences the body functioning of the animals. It also influences photosynthesis in plants. Difference in temperature can lead to difference in adaptations. Besides the factors in the abiotic components that I have mentioned here, there are few more like pH, salinity, etc., which too has effect on the life of the biotic community in an ecosystem. Now, let me tell you, any disturbance in any of the biotic or abiotic factors can lead to a breakdown of the ecosystem. As humans, it becomes our sole responsibility to maintain sustainability of an ecosystem because that will be beneficial for our survival. As confirmed earlier that this is an aquatic ecosystem, let me help you identify the biotic and the abiotic components in this ecosystem. The biotic components that you see in this image are the corals, the phytoplanktons, the zooplanktons, the fishes, principally. Beyond this, to confirm the abiotic factors, we have stretch of water, we have rock surfaces, there is dissolved air in the water, which makes the abiotic components, and that they are interacting with each other. Since you can see the organisms housing itself in the ocean, it makes a ecosystem. Now, let's do the same activity for this mountain ecosystem too. The abiotic components here are the rocks, the snow, the soil seen here. Comes to the biotic component, it is the shrubs, the herbivores seen in the image comprise the biotic community. Now, I request you to identify the biotic and abiotic components in the remaining 4 images of the ecosystems given to you in the activity and leave them in the comment box. We show you a classroom. In this classroom, the teacher, the students make the biotic components. The chair, the table, the blackboard, the wall hanging, definitely trapped air inside, they are the abiotic factors. But yet, we cannot consider this to be an ecosystem. Do you know the reason why? This is because it's not a self-contained area. It doesn't show self-sustainability. That is why it just can't be considered to be an ecosystem. This is the image of a kitchen. Two chefs are the two individuals. There are certain vegetables which are from the producers. Both of them can be included in the biotic components. We do have the abiotic factors as well. There are the walls of the kitchen, some hangings over there on the wall, the utensils used for cooking, all of them are the abiotic components. But yet this kitchen is not a ecosystem. This is because the vegetables here, once cooked, cannot be replenished. It has to be sourced from outside for the next recipe to be made. Neither any of these components are regenerated by themselves. So it doesn't make a self-contained area. That is why it is not an ecosystem. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, like and share my video with your friends. Thank you.